I'm sat in the new Hennessey Venom, and next to me is John Hennessey, who's created this car, and he's going to do a second gear roll on, and this is what it feels like. Oh my God! Anyway, in this video, I'm going to talk you around the car, I'm going to take it for a drive, I'm going to test its performance for myself, and I might scream a little bit more, because I'm at Watson, and you're watching Car Wow. Let's go, baby! Buy, sell,
Car Wow.
Here's the thing that just turned me into a giggling schoolboy. It's Hennessey's own 6.6 litre twin turbo V8. In fact, it's so mental, they've named it Fury. It's got huge turbos, they're the size of a dinner plate, just in there, 2 of them. You've also got this massive air intake, it's water cooled, you've got 2 injectors per cylinder and 3 fuel pumps, but you need it because this thing drinks fuel. When you're doing full bore runs, you probably get about 12 to a tank, and a tank's got 90 litres. It's absolutely nuts, but you do burn a lot of fuel when you're producing a lot of power. And this delivers 1,817 horsepower and 1,617 newton meters of torque. It's completely bonkers, and it drives the rear wheels only via a 7-speed robotised manual gearbox. 0 to 60, 2.6 seconds. Top speed, well, so far, Hennessey has taken it to 272 miles an hour, but it will go quicker. And I'm going to feel just how quick it is when I do a full bore second gear roll on later in the video. If you have some serious power, you need some serious brakes, and this car has some. So you've got Brembo carbon ceramics front and back, 390mm disc front and back, and 6 piston calipers at the front, 4 pistons at the rear. Apparently this car will pull 1.4 Gs under braking. The tyres are interesting. They're off-the-shelf Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. Sometimes hypercars, such as a Bugatti Chiron Supersport, for example, have bespoke tyres, which means that they're very, very expensive to replace. Not so much here. By the way, if you like videos on hypercars such as this, make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to turn your notifications on. That way, you won't miss a single upload. The Venom F5 has been built from the ground up by Hennessey. It uses their own carbon fibre monocoque, and it only weighs 86 kilos. That's the monocoque, not the whole car. I'll tell you how much the car weighs a bit later on. All the body panels are carbon fibre as well. It has double wishbone suspension at the front and the rear, and it's got adjustable coilovers, though you don't adjust them by pressing a button in the cabin. You actually have to do it manually on the shock absorber itself. The car also gets a limited slip rear differential. Time to take the Hennessey Venom out for a drive on a twisty, narrow road. Let's do it. Oh! Oh! Oh my God, this thing's so quick. And the brakes, carbon ceramics, feel like race car brakes rather than road car brakes. You really have to push them quite hard, but then they do really work very well. The steering on this thing, it's heavy, it's meaty, it's quick, it's precise. The handling, this thing just stays flat, 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 flat with the bends. But I'm not going to go flat, 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 flat out because it's so tight, there's loads of trees, and I might end up in a very expensive and nasty accident. But actually, do you know what? This thing doesn't half go around corners well. And it's not crazy scary like you think it might be. But you do feel so much through your hands, through your bum. You can tell that it's not heavy as well. You know, by modern car standards and modern hypercars, something like a Chiron is way heavier than this. That means it's more responsive and darting. But look at that! I'll tell you what, the best way to sum up how this car feels to drive is it's a bit like someone made a Lotus Elise very mad, and then it turned into like this car Hulk. That's what the Hennessey Venom is. It's nuts. Speaking of the Lotus Elise, the previous Hennessey hypercar, the Venom GT, was based on an Exige, which of course is an Elise with a roof. However, this one is their own design completely. They have created this themselves, and what a creation. It is stunning. I love the front splitter. It's so aggressive. The design of the nose with these vents helps smooth the airflow of the roof of the car. Every vent, in fact, is real. It serves a purpose like these, the front of the wheels to smooth airflow down the side. Speaking of the wheels, 19 inches at the front, 20s at the rear. I love these door mirrors, like antennae on a wasp. Huge air intake here to feed air into the engine. Everything on this car serves a purpose, but yet it also looks beautiful. In fact, it's won the Red Dot Award for Automotive Design. And in case you don't know, Red Dot, in fact I didn't know because I'm ill-informed. Anyway, Red Dot is like the Grammys for industrial design, and you can see why this one is truly stunning. You see this piece of carbon fibre here, it actually extends into the diffuser which runs partway underneath the car. It's actually the biggest single piece of milled carbon fibre on any road car. Now you might be wondering what the heck this handle's for. Well, that's because this is a development car and you have to have certain safety systems like this on development cars because they've not been fully signed off. Interestingly though, this is still a customer car. A customer has paid full price for a development vehicle because they want to have the very first Hennessey Venom F5, and they're letting Hennessey take it all around Europe and show people such as me and let me drive it. I think that is really cool, and I thank them for letting me drive their car. The inside of the Venom F5 is also a really nice piece of design. It's quite simplistic, but also very, very cool. Feels expensive with the leather, the carbon, real nice simple layout, the vertically stacked air vents there. This is the controller for the climate. Look, it's dead simple. And you've got your window switches, your nose lift, all that kind of stuff. A lot of the functions are actually on the steering wheel, which is a yoke, just like a racing car, not like a Tesla before you start saying that. Behind the carbon fibre wheel, there's some lovely metal gear select pedals, and have a listen to them. They sound expensive. You've got a digital driver's display there with lots of information, then a main infotainment screen here, which is a bit aftermarket because it's made by Alpine, but it does have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. One thing I've noticed, that while these seats are comfortable, they seem to be raised up a little bit too high. While headroom is still okay, the view out means that part of my vision is obscured by this. Apparently, Hennessey are going to be doing seats that are about 2 inches low, and then you'll really be sat down and cocooned in this car, which will be much better. In fact, they told me that they've sold one of these to an NBA basketball player, and he's 6'7" or something, and he can fit in the car with the new seats, and he still has plenty of headroom. One of the things I really like though is when you're sat in this car, the view of the wings, it kind of makes it feel like the Batmobile. It's really nice. What's not so good though is storage. It's not great in here. There is one cup holder, if you can call it that. It's there. You do have a slot for your mobile phone, though mine won't fit in like that. I have to obviously do it like that. Still sort of works. There's some very narrow door bins, and then there's this glove box or shoe, but I don't know what you call that, but there's some storage there. Have a look at this. The sill on this car is actually quite narrow, which makes it easier when you're getting in and out. Sometimes on hypercars it's really fat, which can be a pain. Now you might have noticed a lack of rear view mirror, but on customer cars there will actually be a screen there which will have a live camera feed from the rear so you can see what's behind you. Now Hennessey is really keen to point out that this car is American, and they are based in Houston, Texas. You have the American flag here on this door handle, then the Texan one over there, and there's also the Texan flag here on this seat. You're probably wondering though, how much does this thing cost? Well, it's £2 million. Quite a lot of money, but less expensive than a Bugatti Chiron Supersport. And if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, click on the pop-out banner up there for the link in the description below. I see how fast I can drive it on the Autobahn without crashing. Now, if you just want to cruise along in the Hennessey Venom, you can do. The fueling is a little bit kind of jerky. The noise is a little bit loud. The suspension is a little bit firm. The steering is a little bit meaty. The gearbox is a little bit jolty. You can do it. You probably won't want to, but you can. And that brings on to 5 annoying things about this car. You see, it's so loud in here, even when you're just cruising about, that you cannot hold a phone conversation. You need to run the F5 Venom on E85 105 octane rated fuel in order to get the full 1,817 horsepower. If you fill it up with normal super unleaded with just 98 octane, then you only get a measly 1,542 horsepower. Depending on where the sun is, you get some really nasty reflections of the dash in the windscreen. You can't see it right now because we've got a polarizing lens on our camera, but if we turn the polarizer, you'll see what you as the driver would see. Yeah, it's especially bad with a light dash top. Ah! The pedal box is quite tight, and that is the footrest for your left foot, and it's really small, and what happens is your foot just slides off it and you end up resting it underneath the brake pedal, which is not a very good place for it. The indicators don't auto switch off once you've turned the wheel, and you can't hear them tick-tocking either because there's no noise.
Matt, remember this is a development vehicle, so on the production models we're going to update the taillights, update the footrest and the dash, fix all the issues.
This is Jason, by the way, from Hennessey, and he's just ruined this whole section of the video. Thankfully, this car has plenty of cool features to help make up for all this. Here's 5. While Hennessey has only managed a mere 272 miles an hour with this car, the theoretical top speed, when you take into account the power, the gearing, the weight, the drag, is 334 miles an hour. Now Hennessey are going to actually try and set a world record with it, and they reckon they'll be able to do 310 miles an hour for real, and that'll make this the fastest road car in the world. Believe it or not, this car does have a rev limit. It's for homologation rules. However, it doesn't matter so much because it's just so damn loud. Go on, rev it up. That's enough! And what car with a rev limiter makes pops and bangs like that? It's even better when you're driving it because then there's no limiter and it will shoot flames from its exhaust. Considering it's a hypercar with loads of power, the Venom F5 is reasonably light. It weighs in at 1,385 kilos. That means it's lighter than a Rimac Nevera, a Bugatti Chiron Supersport. It's also lighter than a Koenigsegg Jesko, and it's even lighter than the latest Lotus. Yet, compared to the Lotus, it has an extra 1,400 horsepower. Nuts. This may be one brute of a car, but it does have a soft, delicate side. Look, it's got soft closed doors. Oh, isn't that lovely? If you're worried about scraping your lovely and very expensive carbon fibre front splitter as you drive over speed humps or up a steep driveway, don't worry, because this car has a lift function which will raise the car up 7 centimetres so you don't damage it. Now, as you're driving along and you go over 50 miles an hour, it will automatically drop back down again so you have full aero. Normal service will be resumed. There we go, look, nice and steady. So this is the part of the video where I normally launch the car and measure its 0 to 60 in 70 mile using my specialist timing gear. However, I can't today. You see, this is a prototype. It's got to do lots of other work, like go to the Goodwood Festival of Speed. It's also a customer car. What I can do though is a second gear roll on and we'll see how well it pulls. I will get the car back eventually and do a full launch and time it for you. But for now, watch the numbers go up on the dials and watch the grin go up on my face. Let's do this. Second gear, here we go. Shit it out. Oh my god, it's so raw! Yeah, the power just builds. When you change gear, it's a bit jolty. It's not like your dual clutch that you get in your normal supercars. It reminds me of the Lamborghini Aventador's single clutch robotized manual. Apparently though, they are working on that. They're going to improve the gearbox. If you're into cars that really make you feel something, you're going to be into this Hennessey Venom. John, you know I'm only supposed to have like one high-speed run. Please, can I have another?
Yeah, of course.
Thanks.
Of course you can.
Okay, gotta go do it now.
No more than 2.
No more than 2.
Okay, right.
Okay, I'll let this one count.
Right,
Okay, then let's go again. One last one. Oh, this is just a video of some middle-aged man going, "Ah!" when he's going quickly. That never gets dull. So interesting, like comparing that experience to the experience I've had in the Bugatti Chiron Supersport, which is much calmer in the way it accelerates, and also comparing it to the Rimac Nevera, which is like bang straight on it, then slowly tails off. This is the other way around, like builds, and it's just so raw and everything's like vibrating and your mind's just going crazy. Hell yeah! Yeah! God bless the good old United States of America. So then, what's my final verdict on the Hennessey Venom F5? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Well, unfortunately, 24 people have already gone right ahead and bought this car, which means the coupe is sold out. Don't worry though, there is a roadster version coming, of which there'll be 30, so you better move quick. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a like. Let me know what you think of this car in the comments below. Click on those windows there for some more videos, and on that box there to get a car wow to see how much your car is really worth. It's probably not worth anywhere near as much as this. Maybe as much as the door mirror.